I am calling this meeting to order. Clerk, call the roll. You're muted.
Councilmember Cosarelli,
Here.
DePena,
Here.
Graziano,
Here.
Natori,
Here.
Rovell,
Here.
Jumalo Burke,
Present.
Mayor Melham.
Here. Sunshine?
Pursuant to the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was published in the Thursday, March 18th, 2021 editions of the Belleville Times and Star Ledger. In an effort to prevent further spread of the COVID-19 pandemic, public meetings have been changed to Zoom. A copy of the annual meeting notice has been posted on the Belleville Town Hall bulletin board, and copies are on file in the municipal clerk's office.
Pledge of allegiance, everybody.
I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the next topic on our agenda is executive session. At this moment, we do have to go to executive session for 3 different discussions. We're going to receive Mr. Martin Allen and Mr. Kevin Esposito to discuss hospital exemption and potential litigation. We're also going to discuss the Great Lawn. We're also going to discuss the Roche project. I'd like to always say why we're going to executive session. In a moment, I'm going to ask the council member for a motion to go. Once we have a second and we vote to go to executive session, we will all leave the room. You all stay here. If we were in, you guys would leave the room and we would keep the room. But we're going to go to a separate breakout room. Every member of the council, along with our professionals and any of our invited guests. No action will be taken in executive session. So with that being said, can I get a motion for session?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion made in second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli,
Yes.
DePena,
Yes.
Graziano,
Yes.
Natori,
Yes.
Rovell,
Yes.
Jumalo Burke,
Yes.
Mayor Melham.
Yes. So at this point, the members of the council, our internal professionals, administration are going to get a message to exit the room, to go to a breakout room. We are going to also invite 2 of our guests, Mr. Allen and Mr. Esposito. They will also receive a link to exit this room and join a separate breakout room. And then there will be no more guests after those 2. So I'm going to now have everybody just look at your screen for a separate link to go to a breakout room. No link. Everybody, we are all back. We're actually arriving back, I should say. I'm just going to give it a few seconds to make sure all council people arrive back. We're just trying to reorganize the screen so we can make sure everybody's here. Does anybody seem like we're missing? No? Okay, so just to let everybody know, we did exit executive session. We discussed those 3 topics. Absolutely no action, formal action was taken while we're in executive session. We are now going to continue with the traditional meeting schedule that we had. And I know Mr. Manager was a few sentences into his manager report. I'm going to once again give the floor to our manager who's here today while he's unwell. And I think he deserves a round of applause for that. For being in our meeting remotely while he's feeling unwell. Mr. Manager, the floor is yours.
Thank you for those kind words. Yes, we're happy that the county has lived up to their word and are providing a vaccine location right here in Belleville. We're at the senior center this Thursday. So again, as I was saying previously, the supply and demand has gotten a little less now. Because CVS is offering vaccines and ShopRites and things of that nature. So it's a positive thing. So we're happy to report on that. The second project is
Hey, through the chair, could I just comment for a second? This is Steve.
I'd like, Anthony, I just had a quick question. I was wondering if you and Mr. Martino could look into this for us. I know at last meeting, we were talking about, a resident brought up I guess there were some vaccines that were allocated to Belleville, but we're not sure how they got allocated, where they got allocated, and I don't think the health department or you were aware of them. Can we, can you and Mr. Martino take a look into that, talk to the county and find out what's going on with that? I think there were 67 of them.
And I think a lot of them didn't go to Belleville.
I certainly will be more than happy to, I can make a call, I guess. Steve, is that correct? I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that there's no shortage of vaccines right now, so I don't know anything about those, but
Yeah, I just want to know how they got distributed. I think that's a concern.
Me too. Me
I'm
too.
back. Did I miss something? No?
Oh, all right.
Is that it for your manager report, Anthony, or no?
No, okay. My second item is just an update on the project, stadium project. Stadium project is weather is certainly cooperating. We are doing or I should say, they are doing a great job as far as the timetable is concerned. Every day that you pass by the stadium, things are happening. Great progress. Coming this Monday, they're going to start on the retaining wall. The retaining wall is what I would consider the northeast corner, maybe. I guess that's probably the geographic. And that's probably, once that's done, we'll be getting ready to start ordering carpet, things of that nature. So the stadium project's going really, really well. We're in budget season. I don't know if this is going to work. Is my shared service up? Do I have a shared service? I mean, a shared screen?
No.
Not yet.
All right, forget it. So we'll skip that shared screen. So the last thing that I would just be remiss, and this is a major accomplishment. I just want to say that because this past weekend, we owe a very big congratulations to the entire Oliveri family. Joey O, that's our fire chief's son, had accomplished an amazing feat. He won the state championship for the third time, 3 out of 4 years. And if you go back to 1935, there was over 38,000 wrestlers that made it to the States, but only 32 wrestlers out of 38,000 actually won a state championship 3 out of 4 years. So, again, Joey Oliveri gets a big shout out. His mom and dad are born and raised Belleville residents, so it all comes into the genes. So we should all be proud of that. But a big congratulations to the Oliveri family.
For sure. For sure.
Yes,
Yep,
absolutely.
we agree.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. So next item on our agenda is the report of the mayor. So as just to try and stay as consistent as possible, I'd like to just cover some of the past events that we did. We recently did a yoga under the cherry blossoms like we did 2 years ago. Last year we didn't do it because of COVID. Overwhelming success, great event, easy little pop-up event that we do. Actually, we just made the front page of the Observer once again. So again, positivity, people love that type of stuff. People are just anxious to get outside and return back to normal is what I think. We also had this past weekend, we had Earth Day events. Unfortunately, I wasn't available for that, but I do want to thank all the volunteers who made that a successful day. I did see a lot of the pictures. I know people in groups were out and about throughout town. I know our green team was very involved in that, and just want to thank all the volunteers and everybody that came out. Next topic is upcoming events. I know the manager touched on this briefly. It is this coming Thursday is our upcoming vaccination event. I'm not quite sure if there's an inquiry as to why this is happening, but if there is, it's because myself and the manager reached out to the county and said that we want to get our seniors vaccinated here in Belleville. They offered to do a pop-up event here in Belleville. They gave us 200 vaccinations. I know the manager mentioned that we're just north of 100, and he's absolutely correct. We're being saturated with vaccinations. Belleville has led in Essex County. There's absolutely no doubt about that. We have consistently had 3 different types of events. We've had a senior home delivery program where they will actually go to homebound seniors and actually give them the injection. We have a senior transportation program through the county where you can get scheduled to get picked up and brought somewhere. And we have done a fantastic job registering people through the county website because we asked how to do that more effectively. The county trained us, and we, for weeks and weeks, ran a deficit whereby we did not have anybody for the amount of slots that we had available to us. So that's probably part of the reason why we're actually having a little bit of an issue trying to get these 200 people actually slots. We're just north of 100 now. That being said, I know I kind of walked back in. Again, we're talking about vaccines that were given to people. It's just amazing that I can hear council people actually questioning who, what, and why we're giving out vaccinations. The county had contacted me directly as the mayor. I was in contact with the health department, found out we had absolutely nobody on the waiting list. We started making phone calls. Those phone calls that I started to make, I used the publicly accessible data that I have. I took time out of my day running my company to sit there and call the oldest seniors in Belleville. If anybody has a copy of a list of seniors and wants to call them to see if they heard from that mayor on that date, you're more than likely to do so. You could also maybe find out they left voicemails on my phone in my office, thanking me for the call and appreciating that I actually reached out for them and took time out of my day to sit there and dial people to try and get vaccines. I also went through my emails because I get about 30, 40 emails a day from people, and I sent many, many emails out just trying to get people into that system. Again, it's just shocking to me that we're not here applauding our collective efforts and we're actually trying to shed some kind of negative light on the fact that we're doing a great job issuing vaccinations. Whatever.
I don't think it's a negative light, but I've gotten several calls, you know, Mr. Mayor, and I just want to clarify because a lot of it's hearsay. So I think we need clarification. That's all I'm looking for.
A lot of it is hearsay. I mean, we've all been around long enough to know that. So this Thursday, we have vaccinations available. I've been posting consistently. As a matter of fact, I paid today my own money to boost a post. So if you see a Facebook post from me advertising Thursday's vaccination, for those of you who are watching the funds in the township, please know that I pay for those posts. I pay for those boosts out of my own money. I use my own money to try and get people vaccinated. I use my own time to call our seniors to try and get them to fill those slots. That was this coming Thursday is that vaccination event. Tour of Hendricks Field is going to be this Friday. Hendricks Field, I think it was a $3 or $5 million investment. I'm going to take a tour of that with our county executive. We might even fly a drone out there to give some people some extra footage of that. This coming Saturday is our Little League opening day ceremony. One of the greatest days of my childhood was always every Little League opening day. That's coming this coming Saturday. Any member of the council that will be there will participate in the presentation of a ceremonial check. What happened was we negotiated a pilot deal for a property in that vicinity. A substantial portion of that pilot, I think $30,000 or $40,000, went to upgrade the senior facility while our seniors are not using it, and $5,000 of that was directed toward the Little League because the money has to be spent in that geographic location. So we will ceremonially present a check any council members that are there this coming Saturday. Also Saturday, free rabies clinic. It's always a big event. Franklin Avenue Fire Headquarters from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then in the near future, May 12th, it's going to be a great event from our police department. Police department's doing a bike ride. They have a whole route. I think it's about 3 miles. We're going to meet at one spot. You do have to register, and we're going to bike around with the cops throughout town. Again, just a great service for our community. Library's doing some great stuff. Check out their website, ESL. Great things there with ESL. And on May 5th, they're having a brand new program called How Businesses Can Successfully Use Facebook. Great things happening at the library. In other news, you saw our announcement with our introduction of our budget last meeting. That represented a $39 tax increase. My compliments to the council, my compliments to the town administration, my compliments to department heads, tax people, auditors, all that did a great job. We really had some interesting meetings as the budget committee. $39 tax increase, everybody. Very, very proud of that. Could have actually been a little bit better, I think, but $39, we're going to take it this time around. I took a tour of Fairway Park. Fairway Park looks great. Basketball court there, brand new. You check my Facebook out. Over 250 likes and positive hearts, 60-something positive comments. Amazing. People seem to be loving the things happening in our parks. There's a community garden there. There's also the brand new basketball court there. You've heard discussions now 2 or 3 meetings in a row. The council is considering going back to live meetings. It looks like there's going to be a resolution on tonight's agenda to discuss or to actually take action to actually change our noticing to allow us to come back to in-person meetings for the first meeting in May, which I think should be our budget adoption. Cherry blossom season is closing, everybody. We do have some second bloomers that are still going to pop, and we have some late bloomers that are going right now, but that's coming to an end. Lastly, I met with the Tuesday Club senior leadership, the senior club that represents Tuesday. Met with them and the administrator at the senior center. They want to see some of the improvements that we did for them while everything was closed. They are very happy. They love the upgrades that we gave them. They're very thrilled. They're anxious to come back. Obviously, we're having a vaccination program there. We want them all vaccinated. We want them back as soon as possible. We did reach out to the Friday Club. We are in contact with them. We'll be discussing that soon. We're probably going to be hosting a welcome back barbecue, something in the summer. If we can get them in the building by the end of summer, it would be great, I think. And that's it for me. So that actually concludes my mayor's report. We're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the approval of, actually, hold on one second. Usually the first council meeting of the month, we open up to committee reports, any council members, but there was some green team stuff on there, or if any council member wants to jump in real quick, feel free to do so.
Just real quick, I just wanted to backtrack for a second to the manager. Can you give us kind of an update on what's going on with GovPilot? I know he's been working with them over the course of the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I should have included that in my report. My notes aren't good today, but we meet with GovPilot through Zoom at least once a week, if not twice a week. We have gone over each department of where we're at. We deployed the Oprah, which is up and running. We are in the process of ready for build. That's where they gather all the information and put that input. That's in zoning, asset management, dog license, business registration, rental property. And in the next 2 weeks, we'll probably be up and running for report of concern, vehicle maintenance, and CCOs.
Through the chair, if I have a question about the Oprah, how many, Kelly, if I may, how many were filed Oprah through this new GovPilot to date?
About 10.
Okay, and how much code, do we know? How many people applied for code and permits and paid bills through this?
Code is not up. Code is not up yet. It's close to being deployed. And also we made contact with a company called Municipay, where obviously it's a credit card. So that's being able to accept credit cards up in the construction department is our next step.
That's the merchant agreement we have
Yes.
to put in place?
That's correct.
So even though the Oprah is available on the website, we can't Oprah stuff for code? Is that what you're saying, Mr. Manager?
No, you can Oprah anything.
No. No, Oprah is fine. I thought Councilman Graziano's question was meaning like CCOs, things of that nature.
CEOs and building
Yes,
code.
but the other question was, how many Oprahs have still come normal compared to 10? Since, like, if we had, how many Oprahs in the past 2 months?
How many came in traditionally, Kelly? Like,
And paper, right? Report.
you're muted, Kelly.
About 50.
Thank you,
And 10 GovPilot.
Got it.
thank you.
Okay.
Mayor, may I ask the manager in regards to also the merchant? I myself, actually, I'm finding myself where I have to pay certain things for my new business, and I'm unable to do that through credit cards. So do we have a timeline in that process? When would we be able to have some information in regards to, you said Municipay, and do we have to look into other companies as well and decide, what they provide, and, what's the timeline until we can actually take credit cards?
2 to 4 weeks.
What was that?
2 to 4 weeks.
2 to 4 weeks?
I thought GovPilot did credit cards, no?
No, you still have to contract with a third-party merchant.
Yeah, and this is just, for the sake of insight, when you're requested to make a check and it's 2021, I don't own checks, I pay everything with credit cards. So we need to speed it up, and we need to make sure that we're serving our community to the highest level, because I myself am experiencing that, and paying by check, then having to go back home and find a checkbook is just not effective. So let's try to move on that. I would love to be able to pay by credit card.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
That'd be nice. Okay, so that was the report of the manager. Council members had a chance to jump in if they needed to. So without hearing anybody else, we're going to move forward to the approval of the minutes.
Combined conference and regular meeting of December 15th.
Need a motion?
Yes, I do.
So moved?
Okay,
Second.
motion made in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
abstain? Hearing none? Okay. Next up is communications.
None at this time, Mayor.
Okay, next item is ordinances. Ordinances for introduction.
Ordinance number 1, an ordinance to amend ordinance number 3490, creating personnel positions and adopting classification and compensation plans.
Need a
Make a
motion?
motion, to introduce?
Second.
We have a motion made in second. Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes,
Natari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke? Strumelob Burke? Mayor
Who's
Melham?
playing games?
My hands.
Wasn't me.
Yes, I'm a yes.
Yes.
If it would be easier to know if she was muted, what phone number is she? If her name was there, or if there, we would be easier to, it'd be easier to.
The 567 number, Mayor.
Okay, so she is muted.
She's muted, yes.
So that's going to be a yes for everybody. Ordinance number 2.
An ordinance supplementing the township's revised general ordinances with new chapter 32, bamboo and invasive plants to prohibit the future sale, planting, and regulate the existing plantings of invasive species of vegetation within the township.
Need a
Make a
motion?
motion, to introduce?
Second.
I have a motion made in second. Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
yes,
Natari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke? Mayor Melham?
Yes.
Ordinance number 3 for introduction, an ordinance to amend the revised general ordinances of the Township of Belleville, Chapter 8-16, handicap parking spaces.
Need a motion?
So moved?
Second.
Motion made.
Second.
Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
yes,
Natari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke? Mayor Melham?
Yes.
Ordinance number 4 for introduction, an ordinance to amend the revised general ordinances of the Township of Belleville, Chapter 6, stop sign intersection designated.
Motion, to introduce?
Second.
Second.
I heard a second. Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
yes,
Natari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke? Mayor Melham?
Yes.
Ordinance number 5 for introduction, ordinance supplementing the township's revised general ordinances, excuse me, with new chapter 33, parks, recreation areas, and open spaces.
Make a motion, to introduce?
Second.
Second.
We have a motion made second. Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
yes,
Natari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
yes,
I think she's there now.
Yes, I got her. Mayor Melham?
Yes.
Ordinance number 6 for introduction, an ordinance to amend the revised general ordinances of the Township of Belleville, Chapter 8-2.9, parking time limited on certain streets.
Make a motion, to introduce?
We have a
Second.
motion made and second introduced. Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
yes,
Natari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
yes,
Mayor Melham?
Yes. Moving along, we have next on the agenda ordinances for public hearing, second and final reading.
Ordinance number 1 for public hearing, an ordinance of the Township of Belleville adopting the second amended school number 1 property redevelopment plan.
Make a motion, open public?
Second.
We have a motion made and second to open for public commenting. Clerk call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
yes,
Natari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
yes,
Mayor Melham?
Yes. Just so everybody knows, we're going to stay as consistent as possible here. The first time that we read or deal with public commenting is going to be anybody that emailed in any comments. Again, this is just pertaining to this particular ordinance. I do have them in front of me, but I haven't really looked through them thoroughly, so I'm going to ask the clerk, do we have anybody that emailed in a comment specifically for this ordinance?
Yes, I have one from Mario Draws, 95 Bell Street, and he said, and he states, Ordinance 1 for public hearing. Is this another development that is asking for tax abatement? Or as you say, pilot program? If yes, what are the terms? What will this development consist of?
I'm just getting there. I say it right there. So we don't have our planners here. I don't think, I think Mr. Martino is somewhat brief. This is the school number 1 project. This project, just so everybody knows, predates me. This was already a done deal before I got here. It has been expanded a little bit. It is going to be, it's a quick check. Prior to 2018, it was an entire city block that was going to be a quick check and a gas station to get us very, very little rateable for an entire city block. It has now been scaled down, the quick check, and it's now, the quick check's about 2/3 of the property. And now there's a small sliver on the back end of the property that would be available for residential, which again, that's what gets us rateables. You know, you can't tax parking lot, you can't tax gas meters. So to have a 5,000 square foot quick check on a city block does nothing for Belleville. So we made a better deal out of this is what I think. Mr. Martino, though, anything that you could add to that?
No, this is just an amendment to a previously approved redevelopment plan, and no changes are made. What's that? And no changes are being made with respect to any of the prior agreements. This is just certain minimal changes, actually positive changes to the redevelopment plan in terms of hours of operation and so on. So this has nothing to do with anything that was approved with respect to pilots and I'm not actually sure about, with the residential, there's been no development proposal, so there's been no pilot. So the answer is no. And this particular ordinance doesn't deal with that. It deals with the redevelopment plan and amendments for the betterment of the project based on recommendations by the planning board.
There was also a deed issue. Is that solved with this or no? That's a different topic.
That has nothing to do with this amendment to the redevelopment plan. That's just some title issues that have to be resolved, but with respect to the property itself, but that has nothing to do with this ordinance either.
So for those of you that were, this is a previously adopted ordinance. We're just making some slight positive changes to it. It's not new. This already came before the council, public hearings and all that stuff.
And it's based on recommendations from the planning board.
Okay, Madam Clerk, anybody else emailing comments for that?
Not for this ordinance, Mayor.
Ordinance 1. Okay. Okay, so that's the people that emailed in. We've gone through them. They have no other comments for this ordinance. So next rung is going to be anybody that is visible on video. I'm going to ask you just to raise your hand so I can spot you, and then I will call upon you and you can take time to speak. I'm looking. Is that a hand, Mr. Frantantoni?
Yes.
All right, he's muted, but he's on a telephone, I think. Okay.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Frantantoni.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you fine.
Yeah. All right, what type of, you're talking residential, is this more high density?
No, and actually, when the question was posed to me by Mr. Droz, I gave an overview of the entire project, but that's not the, I don't believe this is dealt with in this particular ordinance. Mr. Martino?
That's correct. This doesn't deal with a approval of a residential development. The redevelopment plan allows for residential on this property, but it has no specifics in terms of, density or anything. There's no pending application for approval for the residential. This just allows a certain section of this piece of property to be used for residential. It has obviously zoning requirements, but it does not, this redevelopment plan does not, is what you're approving here is not any type of residential specific development.
And when something is proposed, it'll go through the formal process.
That's correct.
Blanket.
It'll go to zoning, planning board or zoning board and so on.
Well, the mayor said quick check is taking up 2/3 of the site. So that's 1.6 acres. So that means a half acre for residential. Is that correct?
I'm literally trying to visualize the size of the block, and it's a loose interpretation, approximation. It's no longer the entire city block. And I think you would agree, Mr. Frantantoni, that a quick check on an entire city block will yield us no revenue. So
No, I wouldn't agree. I will not agree, Mr. Mayor, because it's a benefit to the town. It's a convenience. People like that. And on my way up to Pennsylvania, they built 3 of them on the way up 15 North, and people love them, and they're very successful. And as opposed to residential, which gives us all kinds of services we have to provide. A business like Quick Check, we don't have to provide them basic services and school-age children. So I object to that.
okay.
So
Noted.
it's
So,
and
when you sit there and they want us to develop, property tax relief, you have an entire city block with a 5,000 square foot quick check on it. It does not help you at all in your budget. Just want the residents to know that.
well, the ones I don't know if it's, I went to a balloon festival when this was first sponsored by Quick Check in Western New Jersey. I met with one of the officials there, and they told me it was going to be a gas station and a convenience store. So what has changed?
Nothing.
Mr. Mayor, just so you know, this amended redevelopment plan does provide for residential. I'm not going to say it's a third. It's approximately a third, but it may be a little less. And according to the redevelopment plan, the maximum number of units on that piece that's residential at this time is 40 units.
Okay.
All right, because that's, in fact, if you look at the tape or if you're listening to the last planning board meeting, Mr. Conti and opposed it. They approved something. Oh, we can't help approve this high density. This planning board, this ordinance has to be changed. What he didn't realize, he's the guy that approved the planning board ordinance change. But one final note on this issue, on School One property. Now I'm addressing the 4 councilmen sitting there tonight who are on the previous council. One of the worst things in the history of Belleville that you did was taking that School One site from the Board of Education and giving it to a developer. We need that school so bad. Look at, a friend of mine lives on Ralph Street. I contacted Mr. Tomko last week. I went down and picked up a tool from my friend. 14 minutes, could not move on Ralph Street because of that preschool. And I opened the rental agreement. In 5 years, we're going to be paying almost $6 million in rent. And what do we have after 5 years? A pile of rent receipts. And then we're at the mercy of that owner, whatever he wants to charge rent. So you 4 councilmen.
Mr. Frantantoni, you're off the topic of this particular ordinance. I need you to stick to this particular ordinance, please, or include your comments in public commenting. You'll have that right in a few minutes. Yeah. You're muted, Mr. Frantantoni. You're muted, Mr. Frantantoni. Mr. Frantantoni, you there?
Yes, can you hear me now?
I'm going to assume that your comments are complete on this ordinance.
Yeah, and this ordinance, that's all. I wanted to make the point that those 4 councilmen are the reason they ought to be disgraced that they created this problem that we have down there on Ralph Street and the debt that we're going to have to pay for renting that property.
Tony, this is not public commenting. You can comment on that later in the meeting if you'd like. Okay, I'm going to assume that you're done on this particular ordinance. Is there anybody else that's on video?
I'm done.
Okay. Anybody else that's on video have anything to say on this particular ordinance and this ordinance only?
Yeah, but I'm 2/3 of the lot.
Okay, I hear, Mr. Frantantoni, I need you to mute your phone, please. Okay, anybody else that's on audio that has anything to say on this particular ordinance only? I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself and speak just on this ordinance. Okay, I am hearing none. I'm going to entertain a motion to close and move for final adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion made and second to close public commenting and move for final adoption. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Tanya?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke? Mayor,
Councilwoman Burke. She's not muted.
Yes.
Okay,
Mayor
Yes.
Mill?
yes. Ordinance number 2.
Ordinance number 2 for public hearing, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank.
Make a motion to open public?
Second.
Motion made and second to open for public. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
Tanya?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes. Okay, Madam Clerk, anybody email in comments specifically about this ordinance and this ordinance only?
Yes, I have a comment from Mario Draws, 95 Bell Street. He says ordinance number 2, just for clarification, the cap will be raised to 3.5 if needed.
I believe we have either our manager or our CFO that can specifically answer that question.
Yeah, Mayor, I spoke to Kimberly. She's on. Go ahead, Kim.
What happens is the law limits the amount that we're able to increase appropriations from year to year to 2.5% of the previous year's final appropriations or the cost of living, whichever is less. So a municipality may by ordinance increase the cost of living adjustment percentage up to 3.5%. And what it allows us to do is if we don't use it, we're allowed to bank the appropriations up to 2 years.
Okay, perfect. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else emailing questions on this one?
No, Mayor.
Okay, so anybody on video? First, we go with video. Anybody on video has a question about this particular ordinance and this ordinance only? I don't see any hands. We only have one page now, right? We're down to one page. Okay, anybody on audio want to unmute themselves? Mr. Frantantoni.
Yes, this is my annual objection to this ordinance. And I not only blame local officials, I blame the legislature because they passed this law. You're allowed to raise it to the 3.5% without any reason. This is just another way to bypass the cap law that was instituted when we were given the state income tax in 1976. So it's another fraud perpetrated on the public. And I hope you would just keep to the existing cap every year and be frugal and stay within the cap. The cap was intended to save the taxpayers money, but the legislature and the clowns down there let you guys bypass it every year. So I object to it as I do every year. Stay within the annual cap.
Thank you, Mr. Frantantoni.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else that's on audio want to unmute and present themselves? Seeing, hearing none. I hear. Okay, seeing, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to close and move for final adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion made and second. Clerk, call the roll to close and move for final adoption.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes. Okay, next item on our agenda is public commenting. Need a motion to open public commenting.
Motion to open public?
Second.
Motion made and second to open public commenting. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Nattari? Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Nattari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
Yes.
Mayor Melham?
Yes. Again, we're going to be consistent. Anybody that emailed in any comments going to go first. Clerk, you have a few.
Ready?
Yep, we're ready for the first email.
Okay, first one is from
You're muted, Kelly. You muted yourself by mistake.
Okay, first one I have is from William Milden. He's from 16 Uncle Street. He states, Why were 3 Belleville police cars parked around the Belleville Public Library on March 17th during that meeting? These 3 police officers appeared to be parked illegally because of the yellow painted curbs. Will someone please explain this very suspicious observation and who requested the police to be there? And why aren't people allowed to attend our council meetings in person when we are allowed to attend meetings at the Belleville High School? And lastly, many people want to know when the painting you had removed from our library will be returned to where it belongs. Thanks, Bill Milden.
Okay, seems to be pretty consistent with the comments. Listen, I mean, I like to take any negativity that usually tries to come our way and flip it into a positive. So I want to commend our police department for being very community minded and community oriented. Love seeing them at public meetings, love seeing them at the ball fields when they attend. They often do just drop into public meetings. I was there at that meeting. When I got there was 1 police officer in the building, which is great because we do have some the building is not normally open at 6 or 7 o'clock when the meeting starts, and we do have some female employees that open up the building and they can wander in at that point. I think they feel safe and comfortable that the police officers just have that on their route to stop in. I was at that meeting. There was only 1 police officer there. I do not recall seeing 3. I did not take notice of whether or not they were parked on yellow curbs. Why aren't people allowed to attend our council meetings? Again, you know, I usually go over this and go over it and go over it, but we've now discussed this as a council, 2 of the last council meetings. There's resolutions on the agenda today. I think people are getting tired of hearing my story about this. It's been discussed 2 council meetings in open. There's a resolution on the agenda today to go back to public meetings. So again, I don't know if people want to hear me keep reiterating that. When the painting will be returned, again, question has been asked and answered many, many times. The painting is here right now, safe and sound. As soon as the library commences with their roof project and safens in the roof and dries in that room that's there, the painting is going to go back, and it's in municipal building, from 1 municipal building to the other. So okay, anybody else?
Yes, next one is I have is from Jeff Mattingly. He states, he's from 56 Walnut Street. He states, it is ludicrous and extremely suspicious that the public are unable to attend public meetings in person while the nation is continuing to open up increasingly, and this council rubber stamps massive amounts high-density rental apartments that general tax abatements that will raise our taxes for many years to come. Granting pilot funding removes market forces that would be more beneficial to our citizens. You, Mayor Melham, and Dr. Tomko entered into long-term leases illegally that benefit him and enrich you at taxpayer expense. You both circumvented us, the taxpayers who will pay for them. As for the preschool contract, the state appropriated 2 years of funding for which 1 year was already gone before the citizens must vote on whether or not to assume that expense. Neither of you have the right to override our desires, and you both must be held to account. There were many commercial properties available in town, but once again were given no chance to negotiate items for those contracts that might have benefited us.
Okay, so again, Mr. Magley has not been to many meetings in the past few weeks or months, so he has no idea that this council has actively discussed going back to live meetings. It just seems like every single time we discuss this in public, last two or three council meetings, we discussed this, yet we still get comments acting like we've never even acknowledged this. More than likely, we will be back live next council meeting. Tax abatements, I totally disagree with you on that. Tax abatements do not raise our taxes for many years. The lack of development raises your taxes because municipal services and municipal costs go up every year. Lack of development and lack of new ratables is what causes your taxes to go up, not pilots. Pilots are a revenue share. Municipal gets 95% of the revenue that we negotiate for. It's an amazing opportunity for us, especially when dealing with contaminated land. We have the opportunity to clean up contaminated land that's developing or throwing off virtually no ratables. And we have clean property certified to NJDEP standards, and we get a large sum rateable that actually helps your taxes, which is probably why we're only looking at a $39 tax increase this year. So again, I disagree with you as always on that topic. With regard to the Board of Education, I take issue with your term of illegal. I take issue with the term that we entered into a contract between ourselves. This was all done in public. There was a meeting. All your other comments seem to be relating to that or the school district. I would refer you clearly to a Board of Education meeting. This was all done in public. This was all voted on in public. The public had a right to heard at that meeting that was done. And that's it. Anybody else?
Next one I have is from Michael Sheldon, 47 Floyd Street. He states, one, the street signage at the intersection of Little Street and Bell Street has been missing for quite some time. While perhaps not an immediate concern for Fourth Ward residents, it can cause navigation problems for visitors to our ward. Please resolve this matter ASAP.
So let me just, Kelly, because there's a whole bunch here. Let's just do one at
Yeah.
a time. Mr. Manager, Mr. Chief, if we can just address that with maybe DPW.
Sure.
You.
Two, as of 4:30 today, the user-friendly budgets for both 2018, 2019 are still not posted on the township website. With the council scheduled to have its public hearing for the 2021 municipal budget on May 25th, would you please request that your finance staff members, as well as Mr. Fagone, provide the user-friendly budgets in 2018, 19, and 21 ASAP?
This may shock many people, but Mr. Sheldon is absolutely correct. Mr. Sheldon has made this request in multiple meetings. I will once again reiterate the fact that hopefully Mr. Iacono and our finance people can scrape up the user-friendly budget and submit them for publication on the website. It's actually part of the best practices of New Jersey, and not the first time we've heard this, not the first time I've asked. So if we can just please try and get that done, because then next meeting we won't have to hear about it. See how that works?
Yeah, actually, Kim has been working on it, but she's going back a couple of years now, which is a little time consuming, but we'll address it.
All right, next.
Three, at the last council meeting, I asked about the funding mechanism for Mr. Melham's Country Club membership at the Forest Hills Club. Mr. Melham stated that he is paying for his membership. As a presumptive commitment to openness and transparency, which he kindly publicly present either the paid invoices for his canceled checks, proving to our community that he is in fact personally paying for his country club membership.
So it's not a country club, Mr. Sheldon, you're wrong. It is a field club, number one. I did not state that I'm paying my own membership. I actually stated the fact that I'm paying my own way, and I do pay my own way, and everything else that I do beyond that is really just personal and really, frankly, none of your business. Next.
And four, over the course of the last 2 years, several residents have stated they're concerned about the number of marriage ceremonies taking place in the town hall, many of which apparently took place during the COVID-19 mandatory shutdown last spring and have been officiated by Mr. Melham. According to a DCA directive that went into effect in April 2007, any fees collected by the mayor or designee for such ceremonies must be authorized by local ordinance, deposited into a municipal current fund, and regularly reported to the governing body. Is this being done? If so, then this information will become an operable public document, which will obtain this week.
Okay, so I love the fact that he uses the term misinformation, exactly what Mr. Sheldon is talking about here. Misinformation, half-truths. Everything that we do is according to DCA directives, and that's all I got to say on that. Anything else?
Next one I have is from Mario Draws, 95 Bell Street. He states, ordinance number 1 for introduction, is this a new position?
Ordinance number 1 for introduction, that was the meter. Yes, great question, Mr. Droz, because I always love the opportunity when someone's looking to point out something negative and I get to say something positive. So what happened was we had a retirement. We had 2 positions, about $45,000 each, $90,000 to the taxpayers of this township. 1 person retired. We did not replace that other person that retired. No family members, no neighbors, no friends, no nothing. Did not replace the other person. The other person picked up additional responsibilities, and they're getting a slight bump in pay for a net savings to the township. We probably have a $39 budget this year. Next.
Ordinance number 5 for introduction, it says mayor shall make appointments. Why not ask the public to send in a resume and pick from there?
Actually, Mr. Droz, I'm very glad that you pointed that out. I did have discussions with the town attorney who was tasked with drafting this, and there's actually an error in that resolution. It is not supposed to be my appointment. It's actually appointed by the entire council. So while we're not necessarily asking the public to send in a resume, they could do so, because Steve will figure out how we do that when we pass that resolution later, hopefully. But there was an error in that. It was not supposed to be, it is not a mayoral appointment like the library board is, like certain members of the planning board is. It should have been mayor and council approval. So really,
Hey, well, let's watch it now.
I'm sorry, who was speaking? So right now, it's actually, it reads incorrectly that it's a mayoral appointment. That is not true. It's not accurate. We will make a motion to amend that to say mayor and council approval, which means that the mayor and council are going to vote. Whoever gets 4 votes will actually be appointed there. Correct, Mr. Attorney?
Yeah, Mayor, actually, it says mayor with council approval now. And our discussions were that it was just going to be an entire mayor and council appointments. It was an error on my part. I made multiple changes to this, reviewed it with various members of the Green Team who are for, with Councilman Cosarelli, my error, that everything else got changed, but I just neglected doing that. And we could make this change because it's not substantive. It's just really removing a word. It will be on for second reading when Kelly has time to publish it next meeting or the meeting after.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Next.
Last meeting, an ordinance was passed for 1.9 million for an early retirement. My questions were not answered. I thought that I was to get some answers in writing and still have not received them if I heard the tape correctly. And here are the same questions. What are the job titles and current salary? How many people are being replaced? Are the retired positions going to be advertised for the general public or be replaced out of the political circle of family?
Okay, Mr. Manager, I guess you may be obligated yourself to provide some information. If you could just do so, that would be great. So we don't have to necessarily hear about this maybe the next council meeting.
Kelly, I apologize, but who was that from?
Mario Draws.
Mary Jo.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I apologize. I sent it to Mr. Fantoni, but I will send it to Mario tomorrow.
Okay, no problem. Anybody else? Oh, we do. Is that it for the emailed questions?
That's it for emails, Mayor.
Okay, so now we're going to do the video game. Anybody that's on video, just show me your hand. Is that Mr. Frantantoni? Yes.
Yes.
Frantantoni, you're on, sir.
Okay, first of all, I have an opportunity to commend you tonight if you get the votes to open up to the public the meeting for the first week in May. I'm a little concerned because I got a call this afternoon. There may be 2 council members who don't want to open up. So I hope you get a 7-0 vote tonight to open up for the next meeting. And then I could commend you when I see you in person.
Wow.
And that'll be nice, won't it?
It would be very nice.
Okay, now is Chief Minikini on the line?
His picture's here. Yep.
Yeah. All right, I'd like to address the chief and the council. We got a problem. I brought it up when we were coming to meetings maybe a year and a half ago. Cedar Hill Avenue and Mount Prospect Avenue. You come down the hill, and to make a left turn in them streets is virtually impossible, especially at night when you can't see, because people park right up to the crosswalk, sometimes over the crosswalk. And on Mount Prospect, there's a hydrant there. They park in front of the hydrant. When I brought it up the last time, it was enforced, I think, for 2 weeks. Never again. It wasn't enforced again. Every single night. Now, we come home the other night from my daughter's, 9 o'clock at night. We go to make a turn. There's cars, a truck coming out of Cedar Hill Avenue. We can't turn into it. Had to literally back up into Belleville Avenue to let the truck through. So now you're painting curbs, but I don't know what schedule you're painting curbs yellow. Those 2 streets should definitely 50 feet from the stop sign, and that law should be enforced. So, Chief, could you take care of that, please?
Yes, any, like I told you last time, you have my number, you have my cell, just give me a call. I mean, but I will certainly make it a lookout and definitely get on that.
Yeah.
No problem, really. Just give me a call.
Well, I brought up I hate to call, unless it's important. I don't like to bother public officials and all if I have to, but this is something that you addressed it for a week or two because a guy got a ticket by the hydrant in Mount Prospect. I go down every night between 9 and 10 to close my laundry. And every night I go out that way. A lot of times I'll turn around and I'll go down Home Street. But if you go out that way, every night they're parked, like I said, to the crosswalk and above. Can we get those painted yellow?
Yes, we'll take care of it, Vinny.
All right. All right. I trust you. You never let me down. So hope this gets done. Thanks, Chief.
Okay,
All right.
Vin.
Thank you, Mr. Frantantoni.
Okay. All right. I'm tired. I want to eat dinner. So that's it for tonight. See you next meeting in person.
And I want that compliment.
If you open up.
I'm ready to open up. Thank you, Mr. Frantantoni. You enjoy your dinner.
You too.
Anybody else that's on video? We have no screens here, so okay. Nobody else on video. The last tier of commenting is anybody that's just on audio. If you are on audio, I'm going to ask you to just unmute yourself and state your name and address for the record. Hearing none. I'm going to entertain a motion to close. Am I missing something here? I'm going to entertain a motion to close the comment.
Motion to close public.
We are doing such a great job, council, collectively. I just, it's amazing.
Motion
Okay,
to close public.
I heard that.
Second.
Motion made quickly. Clerk, call the roll, quick.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Natari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
Yes,
Mayor Melham?
Yes. Resolutions, everybody. I have,
6, we got to pull.
yes, thank you, Steve. You always
I
find.
want to pull 9.
Yeah, I want to pull 8.
9, 8, 6, 9,
6, 8, and 9.
8, and 9, or that way. Okay. 6, 8, 9. But that's it. I'm going to entertain a motion to move the consent agenda with the exceptions of number 6, 8, and 9.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion made and second. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Natari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
yes,
Mayor Melham?
Yes. Item number 6, just individual roll call, please.
You need a motion for 6, right?
Yep,
Yes.
or vote. Yep. I guess that's a motion, Steve. I need a second.
Second.
Okay, motion made in second. I think that was Councilman Cosarelli, no, Natari. Clerk, call the-
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Natari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
yes,
Mayor Melham?
Same. Number 8.
So you need a motion to move 8. I just want to do a roll call and call attention to it. Vinny, did you want to comment on this?
Vin?
Vin, you there?
Yeah, was that?
Did you want to comment on 8? It's the.
No,
clerk.
my internet's going in and out. No, yes, so this is something that we started a while ago and we kind of got halted because of COVID. And now that we're starting to open stuff back up, we're gonna keep going with this. So first thing we got to do is name Belleville a Purple Heart City. And I think and I hope everyone's going to be in favor of that when we vote on this. And then we'll move on to the next step here. And I know myself and the mayor already had discussions about having a weekend for them in November, as we did 2 years ago. So we'll be working on that in the background also.
Yep. Okay.
We have a motion, right?
Yes.
A motion made. I need a second, and then we're going
Second.
to for a call. Here at a second. Motion made and second for a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Cosarelli?
Yes.
DePena?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Natari?
Yes.
Rovell?
Yes.
Strumelob Burke?
yes,
Mayor Melham?
Yes. Next item is item number 9. Deputy Mayor Graziano pulled this off. Again, this has been the subject of 2 different council work sessions. I think most of us are on the record with regard to where we stand on this. Deputy Mayor, you did pull it off, so I'll give you the floor.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, and just to set the record straight, I am all in for in-person, all in. So that being said, I see that there was a change to the agenda for this number 9 from the original one we have. Can someone share why that was changed? Any takers?
I'm trying to pull it up. I didn't
Okay.
request.
And I want to share this because I am very sensitive for those who want to be able to call in. But I really feel that we are leading the town, right? We are council folks. I ask myself to do just as much, if not more, than every other town worker here. So I think that when we do go live next month in person, I think we should go back to the way it used to be. Everybody, we're all in. For council who can't make it, they just call in. And for any community members that have questions that can't make it, they just send an email in. Simple, short and sweet. There wasn't the resolution we should go back to the original one before COVID hit. I don't know why we have to stipulate what is it?
I mean,
Phone.
where's the change? I missed it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't,
well-
it is highlighted. Is it highlighted just because it was a last minute addition or because I don't see a change from what I originally read?
Well, they said there was an update to this one, so that's why I pulled it. I want to understand why. But I wholeheartedly believe that we are council, we represent, we're on the forefront. I mean, we don't ask personally, our town workers, they're here every day. They were here through COVID. We have people going out to homes. We have all of that happening. Our code department, health department, our police and fire. They are out on those streets every day protecting us. They're no better than us, but I understand that we all have some underlying issues, but let's just don't document that you could come in via a call. Do what we did before. Everybody comes in. If you can't make it in, you call in for counsel. Everybody else, the town is out there to come in. We are in tow with the school. We're in tow with the school. Dr. Tomko's been doing it from the beginning. We say we want to be like and share and do those things. Let's react like that too. But I am all for it. I am all for it in person. So I just wanted to get that off my chest because, hey, that's my take.
Tommy, I agree with you, but I think is this not it? Is that not it?
No, that's not it.
Yeah.
So just so I could weigh in for 1 second, since I do chair these meetings, and I've always said, I've been extremely consistent for a long time. I want in person because this is very difficult to do. As the members of the public have to sit here for 3 hours sometimes when there's not much even on the agenda because we have ordinances for second hearing. I first have to go through emailing comments. Then I have to go through anybody that's in video. Then I have to go through anybody that's on audio. If we keep that consistent, then I have to do anybody that's in person. So it's 4 bites at the apple, and that's just for public commenting on a second ordinance for reading, and then there's real public commenting after that. So it is a lot. I prefer if you want to participate in the meeting, and we're opening up since people want us to open up. We should be in person, and anybody that wants to participate in person should be there. But like Deputy Mayor said, I sympathize with anybody in the public that can't or doesn't feel comfortable coming. And I think they should still be able to participate, but they could just email in their comments. So we have email in comments for those people who don't want to come. And we have actual, in-person meetings for people that do want to come. I think that's getting back to normal. And again, the Deputy Mayor said it eloquently. And I think it's been a misunderstatement that this town and our employees have kept town hall open through COVID. Nutley's still closed, I think. So Newark is still closed. Belleville employees kept this place open for a very, very short period of time on a skeleton crew. But right away, it was Memorial Day. It was the Tuesday after Memorial Day last year that we came back to fully open. And if our employees can do it, if our first responders could do it, I think we can show up here twice a month, especially if we're saying it's safe for everybody else to show up, especially if we're also out there in public venues at other times in our lives and sharing that on social media sometimes. I think we should be here. To me, as the chair of the meeting, it's just easier to deal with somebody in person. I've been consistent on that. I'm sympathetic to somebody that's not comfortable showing up. They have the right to still participate via an email and question. I'm totally fine with that. I tend to thought that was the hybrid model we discussed at the last council meeting.
Yeah, I'm okay to pass this. I don't see any problem with it. We want to open it up, so let's open it. I don't think anybody's against opening it up.
Yeah, but over here, Steve, I think it says telephone to make public comments. Public comments.
Oh,
portion
you're
of it.
saying you want to,
You
you're
don't
good
want
with
to be
the
able to make public
council.
comments via
If the
telephone?
council can.
I'm sorry?
No, the public comments, Vin.
Mayor, just to ask a question. So the way that it's worded now, it's stating that the public can call in, they can email, and they can be on Zoom currently, correct?
That's the
No,
way-
No,
that's
no.
what-
Councilman-
No,
Oh,
that's what
God.
it's currently
It
now.
says to make public comments, that is what's stipulated on this. So that's why I want to clarify, because that's what I'm understanding from Tommy, that's his concern.
Right now, just so you know, right now, the way it reads now is the public, gonna open the meetings up to public where they can come to the meeting. If they don't come to the meeting, the way they will participate under the present form of this resolution is by telephone, not by Zoom, not by email, by
Zoom telephone, Zoom audio.
Zoom audio only, meaning they use their telephone to call in. They don't use their computer. They use their telephone to call in through Zoom. This way it can be monitored by muting them and whatnot. But it is not by email and telephone. It's right now, it's limited to telephone call participation and that's all.
And physical.
And just so you know, just because Councilman Graziano indicated that if he wanted the public to be able to email, and if a council member couldn't make it, they could call in. That's no longer permitted. So based on the regulations put out during COVID, if you allow a council person to call in, you have to allow the public to call in. If you allow a council person to come on by Zoom, you have to allow by video Zoom, you have to allow, so what you permit the council member to do, you have to permit the public to do. Now, obviously, council members can't appear by email, but so just so you know, you can't do it the way that was suggested by letting the public email. And if the council member can't come by, although that's the way it was historically done in past practice prior to COVID, that you can't do that any longer. It has to be consistent to both the public and the council members.
Thank you. And I have a follow-up question, Steve, while I have you. So I know that in the past, based on being able to call in, there was a limit to the amount of times that we could call in. Can you clarify if there's anything that applies to council members calling in, if there's a limit to how many meetings we can call? I've been in person, I'm okay, but just so that we're clear in that.
Okay, so technically, there is no provision for calling in as a council member. I'm talking prior. I'm talking to prior to COVID, okay? Now there's been other regulations put in regarding calling in, and you can call in provided you let the public call in. Apparently the way Belleville did it historically was if a council member couldn't come in for various reasons, they were allowed to call in and it counted as that person being in the meeting. Okay, that apparently was Belleville's past practice long before you were a councilwoman and before I was an attorney. And the attorney, once I started coming to the meetings, I saw this happen, and since it was past practice, nobody asked me, so it continued to happen. But technically, there is no provision for that or a limitation with respect to how many times you could appear, so to speak. Now that is all changed by COVID and the DCA's regulations with respect to the Open Public Meetings Act. And this resolution, as I said, allows for both the public and council people to appear and if it's passed, that's what will happen. And it will allow that going forward.
Okay, thank you for answering that.
So, yeah, and I think, I had a pretty good grasp of it. I've just, said it repeatedly that I prefer in person. I am the chair of the meeting, and to deal with 4 different ways to communicate during meetings, it just delays things. I totally respect the right of the public to want to participate but not feel comfortable to attend. I would prefer them just to be able to email in their comments, and then anybody that wants to really come down and speak in person obviously still has their chance to do so. That's what I thought the hybrid was going to be. I did not realize that we were just adding in person and still doing basically almost everything else, with the exception of the email part now.
I think all we have to do there is we still give us the ability to call in and other people to call in if they don't feel comfortable. I still think we're dealing with that. If people have a problem with that, I have no problem voting for this.
Yeah, see, I agreed with Tommy that, we should set the example, but have, if a couple people on the council can't make it for health reasons, okay, they could call in, without the public doing it, not to shut the public out, because they still have their option of emailing, they still have their option of coming in. That's what I wanted, but I guess if Steve's saying, and Martino's saying that that's illegal now or whatever, the new, I guess that's the new law by the state. I don't know. Can we vote on this and then come back and look at it at the end of
Yes,
July
I'd
1st
rather-
or whatever?
The way the resolution is now, it's legal. So
Yeah, so let's do it.
Martino, let me just pause you 1 second. I think Councilwoman Burke was trying to.
Oh, sorry, Mayor.
I was,
Sorry, Councilwoman. Oh, she's muted now.
okay,
No, you're good now. You're good.
all right. What I'm saying is if you get sick and you can't make the meeting, what's wrong with that? If you're sick?
Well, yeah, we've always allowed that if you're sick. I mean, it's just.
Okay, so what is the biggest problem then by having
big-
that other,
Because then
resolution?
if we put it in the way it is now, it just, again, it's another layer of, just going to add delay to the meeting. I mean, we're not cheating any member of the public out of participating, because they can still participate, but it's just the way it's worded now is that everybody can dial in, and that's it. You can dial in, you can participate in person, and you can only watch online, which it used to be actually.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's very confusing, really. I mean, I think-
Yeah, it is very confusing this way.
The only concern I have is also in terms of time limits, because technically we open up the doors for somebody to move outside of the country, somebody who sits in the council and just call in unlimited, like that is one thing that does concern me. I think this council has already been through this. So I just wanted to put that out there, that does concern me. Obviously, we're here for the people. I want to show up. I want to be in person. I like being able to shake hands with the public. However, that being said, I do have a concern because I understand people's health are of concern. I respect that. But I also do have the concern of those that may just abuse of this. I mean, many of us have been showing up and have been doing what we need to do. And there's no difference between coming in person to going to a restaurant. Many of us are going out and aren't, having normal lives. So I do have a concern for the time frame. I'm ready to vote. I'm ready to open. But I did want to, for the record, present that I do have a concern for how much can this be used throughout our meetings and for how long?
So do
Yeah,
we?
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, bingo.
No, I agree. I think, maybe this is a temporary thing it's just May and June, and then definitely reevaluate the whole phone call thing, maybe at that point, kind of take one step at a time. I'm in town hall every day myself, so I can't say that I'm not for it. I'm literally there every day. So is the mayor, so.
I agree, Ben. I do like the idea of potentially maybe May and June and then revisiting and
We can
see what-
revisit, yeah.
This is only 2 months.
Wait, revisit. Let's get it done.
Thank you, everybody.
Great.
I think this council has probably had a discussion on this topic more than any other council, I think, in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I think that we know where everybody stands, and let's, I guess.
And I think we're ahead of the curve too, Mayor. If you look at a lot of towns, a lot of their town halls aren't even open.
So Jay,
I
I
know
don't
getting
want-
a permanent stuff, I can't even go in.
I don't want any member of the public to be disappointed. So just so you all know that if this gets approved tonight, we will have in-person meetings beginning the first meeting in May, which is our next meeting, will be in person. Public will still have the right to participate. If it's passed this way, public will still have the right to participate without being present, by a telephone call. It's not going to be the Zoom thing, but yet the meeting will still be live streamed, presumably on our Facebook page and probably the township website. So it'll be live streamed for people to watch, but participation will either be in person or by telephone call in like a conference line. There's logistical problems with that because when we have council members calling in, how we separate those lines in executive session, it's still a logistical nightmare,
We have
everybody.
to look at the technology piece of it. Yes.
Yeah.
So just so the public is aware of what we're actually voting on today. Anybody else have anything to say? If we are in person, I'd like to add that I would like the police chief to show up in his whites. If we are in person, if we can get the chief
Definitely.
in his whites, I would appreciate that.
With all that hair too.
I'll think about it.
Ready. So I would, no, I don't really move things. All right, let's get a motion to
I'll
move
make
this.
a motion to move it.
Motion made, and I need a second.
Second.
Motion made and second
Second.
to move it. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Cosarelli,
Yes.
Pena,
Yes.
Graziano,
Yes.
Natari,
Yes.
Rovell,
Yes.
Jumalo Burke,
Yes, I guess.
Mayor Melham.
Yes. We good?
Good.
Okay, so we'll see everybody that wants to appear in the next council meeting in person. So next item on the agenda is going to be business. I do have one, Mr. Martino.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Droz did make that public comment about changing the ordinance. That was after we already voted on the ordinance. Is it okay to just advertise the second reading of that as amended, or should we just?
Somebody interrupted you. You gotta say what you just said again.
So ordinance number 5
Right.
for discussion. We had that discussion about the change after the council already took action on that. Can we just advertise the second reading as amended, or do you want us to re-vote on that now?
Well, I think I'd like you to re-vote on amending it to say that the appointment will be the entire mayor and council.
Got it. Okay, so with that being said, on the new business, I'm going to entertain a motion to amend ordinance number 5, which was for introduction, to now include that the mayor and council appoint, not mayor with council approval, correct?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion made in second. Clerk, let's just call the roll on that.
You're muted, Kel.
You're muted, Kelly.
Councilmember Cosarelli,
Yes.
Pena,
Yes.
Graziano,
Yes.
Natari,
Yes.
Rovell,
Yes.
Jumalo Burke,
Yes,
Mayor Melham.
Yes. New business, going once, going twice. Hearing none, I'm going to entertain a motion to close the meeting.
Motion to close.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are closed. See everybody in May.
Have a good one.
Thank you.